Hello everyone, I'm the Weather Dude. Welcome back, and today we are talking about the dangerous heat wave that is expanding across the northern plains as well as the eastern part of the country. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notifications so you do not miss out on the latest weather content. And I also did just update my website. As always, it will be linked down in the description if you ever want to check it out. But we're going to get straight into the video here, talking about the heat wave and starting off with some very important heat safety tips. Okay, and there's also another tip that I want to add on to this list as well. So of course, we're going to be seeing temperatures in the 90s, even solid shade temperatures in the hundreds, and then heat index values like way higher than that. And I'm going to be showing you where coming up in the video. So drink water, of course. Drink cold water, of course, before you get thirsty. And this is a really important one too. People like to rely on fans. Don't always rely on fans because they don't quench your thirst. They might keep you cool, but even if temperatures get 90, 100 degrees, those fans are going to have a hard time keeping you cool. Of course, stay inside. Don't go outside for longer periods of time. Dress light, right? Wear lighter clothing, but also a tip I want to add on to that is wear light color clothing, because lighter color clothing reflects light, as opposed to dark color clothing would absorb the light or the heat. Never leave, of course, look before you lock. Never leave your kids or pets in a parked car. Doesn't matter if it's for 5 or 10 minutes. Of course, check on your friends and neighbors, and then seek immediate medical care if you have any heat-related illness or develop a heat-related illness. So why is this happening? Well, this picture from the European model will answer it for you. This is the jet stream, right? So jet stream is going all the way north, kind of like this, and that is allowing the heat. And there's even like a kind of like an upper level low, which is keeping Texas and Louisiana pretty moist and pretty stormy. But that is also cranking up the southern flow. It's muggy. It is hot. All right. And when it's muggy, that also adds to the heat index. And we're going to be going through 3 models. We're going to be going through GFS, Canadian, European models, and looking at what we could be seeing in terms of our temperatures. All right. So going through the precipitation map first, just so you can see our upper level low, you can see right here through the southern central, and that's of course pumping the moisture. So on the eastern side of that, across southeast, as you can see, there is rain. And then there are storms that will gradually make their way east. But going to the temperatures, all right, let's look at some of these temperatures. So actual temperatures, this was earlier this afternoon, right there in central South Dakota, 100 flat. That's the actual like flat temperature, right? That is not counting the heat index, all right? Heat index values are just about 100 as well. So that probably means there wasn't as much humidity. But down in Florida, heat index values well into the 90s as well. All right, and this isn't even the hottest part of the day yet. All right, so let's go to this evening and look at the actual temperatures. So this is basically like almost right now, or this could have been a couple hours ago, 102 in central South Dakota. All right, it hits very bad. All right, down there in Death Valley, over 110 down there in that region. All right, again, and it's going to repeat itself for a while. All right, there could be a cooler flow. We could see start to come in, but the heat is going to hold. Sunday, again, even upper 80s for this region is pretty abnormal. And, we still will see some low 90s. East Coast is going to be hot as well. Florida's going to get really hot, 96 down there in central Florida in the evening for tomorrow. So for tomorrow's daytime high. And then for Monday, again, when you think it's done, when you thought it got better, 102 in South Dakota yet again. And this is a GFS model. We'll be going to other models as well. All right, so you can see the heat is going to continue. And look at Texas, really, like this is only like a couple days out. This is Tuesday. Tuesday's afternoon highs will go up to 103, 104 in western central Texas. So it's going to get very hot. East Coast included. Eastern Seaboard, you guys are included. All right, 80s and 90s. And these are just, well, actually, mostly 90s because 80s is kind of normal this time of year. But 90s indeed. And it's gonna keep going for a while, right? Georgia and Florida border, 99, maybe even 100, 103 in the Texas Panhandle. And remember, all these temperatures are taken in the shade. These temperatures do not account for the sunlight, making it feel hotter. These do not account for the humidity that is in place. That's going to make it hotter as well. So that's what the heat index is for. All right. Look at this, 106 in the Texas Panhandle on Thursday afternoon, right? And look at this, 109, even 110. And it's over a huge region as well. Look at this, like this entire region I just highlighted there between Kansas and New Mexico, almost down to the Rio Grande, is 100 degrees plus for the actual temperature. All right. So let's take a look at some of the heat index values, right? look how much wider of an area 100 degrees is now when you got the heat index included, right? We even got 100-degree temperatures all the way up here, right? 100-degree feels like temperatures, I should say. So these temperatures are very hot, and it's not only very hot, it's going to be lasting for a long time, right? Look at Friday. The heat is going to be here. It's going to be here for a while, all right? And if not triple digits, whether it's temperatures or feels like temperatures, if it's not triple digits, it's going to be mid to upper 90s for a lot of people, like millions. 108 feels like temperatures in northern Oklahoma. And it goes far north, too, into the northern plains, right? Don't think you guys, just because you're north, you're out of it. It's not true. All right, so, GFS model, according to them, the heat, now, it's really no end in sight. Look at this. We're still in the 90s all the way through next Sunday. So we're talking about like a week from tomorrow at this point. So this heat wave is going to be sticking around for a very long time. Now, for folks along the East Coast, if you guys are wondering, it might start to calm down after a few days. I feel like the heat dome is going to start backing away from the East Coast and focus itself in the central part of the United States. So the central part of the United States, you guys are going to have it for a long time. East Coast, maybe not as long, but still at least through next week, right? Like let's look at Thursday's high temperatures we're still into the 90s, all right, around the Delmarva Peninsula, all right, even through Friday, we get pretty hot. Maybe not the Northeast will start to cool down, but not the Mid-Atlantic. So this will be lasting for weeks and weeks on end, especially in the central part of the country. You guys might feel it the longest, right? Here's one factor right here, the dew points. GFS model dew points, right? Look at this. Upper 60s, I would say, is the threshold where it starts to feel pretty muggy. Then you get above 70, and that's like oppressive. That's like very humid. And if you get above 80, that's just absolutely unbearable. And it's very rare to get above 80 for dew points. Anywhere in that magenta color is 80-degree dew points. And we're not really seeing those, thankfully. But the purple, those are your really muggy dew points, right? I would say anywhere shaded in any kind of green, right? Because that's between 40 and 60. That's your comfortable zone. So any shade of green is good. Brown is also, of course, dry. And then like purple is just like, look at this. Look at this as we head towards Tuesday evening. Look at these 70-degree dew points. It is pretty much almost the entire eastern half of the country. All right, and then you got to tack on the hot temperatures on top of that. So you can, as you guys can tell, very dangerous heat wave we're having here. All right, European model, you guys are up next. So let's go to the temperatures so you guys can see. All right, so temperatures, we're looking at heat indexes still as well, because you may be surprised, but the models are kind of different. So that's why I want to look at the three models just to get like a comparison. I think it's always good to have the ideas of multiple models. European model, now every click is 6 hours as opposed to GFS. Every click is 3 hours. So this is like 2 p.m. and then this is 8 p.m. So there's no 5 p.m., which is like the hottest time of the day. So, but we can show 2 p.m. for the European model. Again, mid-90s across the northern plains, right? This is Thursday, right? This is several days later. The definition of a heat wave is when temperatures are 90 degrees plus for 3 consecutive afternoons or for 3 consecutive days, right? So we're crushing that without a doubt, right? Even in Western Texas, 106, right? Friday, Saturday. We got now Saturday afternoon, it becomes a little bit more bearable, right? At least to your European model's version of it, right? Still mid 80s, but it's still going to be just as muggy, and that's going to make it feel all that worse, right? 80 degrees is a comfortable day in the summer, but if you throw in a 70-degree dew point, it's going to make it feel unbearable, and then the sun on top of that, right? So again, he's going to be sticking around a while. Again, 80s and not. Now, according to the European model, we might see a little bit of a cool down into next week. We'll see about that. GFS has it going on, I wouldn't say indefinitely, but for a very long time. Now, let's look at the heat index values from our European model here, right? Because they get very high. Matter of fact, we got 98, closer to 100, and many places are going to get over 100, whether it's your feels like temperature or whether it's the actual temperature. Like especially down Texas and Mexico border, right? Like near Brownsville, Corpus Christi, and inland areas. Well, inland from Corpus Christi and Brownsville, you guys are gonna be like feeling like in the triple digits, like pretty much every single day. Like look at the bottom of your screen here, like down here. See how it says 107, right? Next day 105, 101, 102. So it's pretty much never ending down there. And even, right? Look at Friday, 90s, 100s for our feels like temperatures, and our real shade temperatures will not be too far away from this. And here is the dew points. Again, look at the lavender colors. Look how they make their way farther north. Like, look at this. This is, again, Tuesday evening, right? Pretty much similar to the GFS model. Like the eastern half of the country is, especially like the Northeast, the Southeast, Mid-Atlantic, Southern Plains. Now, at least by this point, as it looks, the only difference from the Northern Plains is that the dew points will be a little bit lower. 60s is a bit more manageable. 60s is it's a little humid, right? Because of course between 40 and 60 is your comfortable zone. Between 60 and 68, it's okay. It's a little humid, but it's a little bit more bearable. So at least the dew points will be better. But then again, though, if you get too dry, then you start to have to worry about wildfires. And I would, even as much as I hate the muggy weather, I would rather have it than be hot and dry, because then that just creates the risk for wildfires. But muggy, I still hate a lot. Central Missouri, look at the dew point, 78 for a dew point potentially next Thursday in the evening. So dew points are going to get pretty close to 80. And actually, there it is, right there in Central Missouri. If you guys didn't see it, I'll show you again. Right there, 80 degrees. Or an 80-degree dew point, I should say. I wish it was 80 degrees. But yes, 80-degree dew point, that is absolutely, I wouldn't say unsurvivable, but that's just unbearable. You're gonna start seeing changes in like your hair and stuff at that point. It's gonna be a mess. There will be a couple spots, like look, 80, I saw another 80. So even down in Texas, Louisiana, dew points in a few places could hit 80 degrees, and that doesn't happen very often. All right, and then once we get to the height of summer, this could get even worse. But then, here's the big contrast though. You see dew points in the upper 70s and 80s, but look at the dew points in northwestern New Mexico, -17, -10. That's like insanely dry. So it's like a difference between two worlds almost, at least in terms of dew points, not temperatures. So let's look at our GDPS model, our Canadian model now. Again, and then we're actually going to look at some Climate Prediction Center forecasts to see how long this heat could last, because I'm sure we all want to know when it's going to stop. Look at the actual temperatures. This is later this evening, or pretty much right now actually, 101, and like this entire like brighter, whiter shade is all 100 degrees plus. Right, let's look, 101, 99, 99, 100, so very hot air over a larger region as well. All right, eastern seaboard and watch those big metropolitan cities, because they get even hotter than what the maps might forecast. Because there's more pollution in the big cities, Boston, New York, Philly, Washington, right? Houston, even if we're going away from the 95, Houston, Dallas, like everywhere. Anywhere those big metropolitan cities could see even more heat because of the pollution and the factories there, right? And the power plants. So real temperatures, these are shade temperatures, by the way, on the Canadian model for Wednesday's afternoon high, 104, and that's not even with a heat index. So the heat index values, right? So let's go to that same time. Let's see if we get a higher heat index value. Yeah, 105, I see 106, 107. So very high temperatures. And of course, you guys can find where you are and kind of look at the map that way. Look at the southeast, 90s, close to 100. Even the central part of the country, well into the 100s. The only thing, like I said, that might spare the northern plains a little bit. It's still going to be very dangerous. I'm not taking away the danger of it, but maybe your dew points might be a hint lower. But I'm not saying that for a couple of days your dew points could still get very high. Let's look at the dew points actually, right? Let's focus in kind of like on this region, right? Like North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota. You guys can see greens, maybe even some browns, and that's not really that good. We want to see green. Again, 60s, then maybe, like I said, for briefly, maybe Wednesday our dew points get into the 70s, but it won't last like as long as it will down in the southeast, where you guys will have dew points between 70 and 76 every single day, right? So it's not that bad in terms of dew points. The heat is still very bad. And let's look at the Climate Prediction Center, see how long this heat could last. Now, according to them, June 11th through June 15th, at least between Maine and North Carolina, the coastline, temperatures could come down to average or maybe a neutral chance. So not as high of a probability of hot air from Maine down to North Carolina. But look at the central part of the country, the entire central part of the country. Maybe South Texas might get a break actually. But the northern and central plains, you guys still have a very high probability, 70-80% chance plus of being above average temperatures. This map doesn't tell us how intense it will be. This just tells us the probability of seeing those above average temperatures. So I just want to stress that. June 13th through the 19th, still above average temperatures. But again, if you see above average temperatures in the summertime, it's probably going to be hot. Let's just face it, right? Because if average temperatures for someone is like 80, above average temperatures will be like 85, 90. So it's going to be pretty hot. Let's just say that. Even through June 19th, this hot air Now, it may not be every single day. It might be most days, but maybe there might be a brief cool down period in between, but it won't be very much. And finally, looking through June 19th through July 2nd, I mean, pretty much in a week, this is between weeks 3 and 4 from now, pretty much most of the country, except for Texas, Louisiana, might see above average temperatures. So this heat could be lasting a while. So thank you guys for watching today's video. Stay tuned for more updates. As always, don't forget to check out my updated website in the description below. I am the Weather Dude, signing off till next time. Catch you guys in the next video.